Welcome back. Thanks so much for stopping in. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, like my video, and feel free to share it with friends because we have an important message today. All right, let's get started. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for being here today. We're going to take a walk on this lovely trail. And there's a good book that I've been reading by Dr. Henry Cloud, and it's called Trust. You might know Dr. Henry Cloud. He was one of the writers of the book Boundaries, which is an amazing book, and it helped me years ago get out of a relationship that was totally not healthy for me. And it reframed my way of thinking about what boundaries were, about what trust was, about what love was, about what relationships are. So tip number 1 is find the right people to trust. That sounds easier said than done. Dr. Cloud said that we are wired to trust, which is great. It's wonderful because we need those relationships. But unfortunately, if we have relationships that are not healthy, that trust bond that we can grow with someone has to change. So to share with you my backstory, I had a relationship in my past that was not the healthiest for me. And I did try to change it. I did go through counseling, and it really didn't change our dynamic. That trust was never able to be rebuilt. And so I had to say goodbye. That relationship was not an easy one to come out of. I spent 4 to 5 years as a single mom. In the time between my first marriage and my second, I had really learned a lot about myself and who I was. But even then, with my second marriage, I still had brought trust issues into that relationship. It wasn't always smooth sailing because a lot of times when we have wounds from past experiences, they still affect that next relationship. And one of the best ways to heal a wound is to acknowledge it, to address it, to know that it's there, kind of like the elephant in the room. I've been with my husband for 9 years and I know I can trust him. It's very different from the first time. Tip number 2 is to have different touch points. What's a touch point? A touch point is different areas in your life, different days, different times where you touch someone else's life. So as a single mom, how long would it be until someone would check in on me, make sure that I was okay? My kids were little, so Tuesdays were our library day. And Miss Nancy at the library, she always said hi to me, asked me how I was doing, oftentimes asked me in what ways she could pray for me. And that made a big difference. So there were different touch points in our life where we attended events, where we were regularly with other people. We were in their lives and they were in our lives. And if we were missing for a duration of time, somebody would miss us. And they would most likely ask where we were, inquire, give us a text, check on us. But who would check in on you? Who would make sure that you were doing okay? Because that's important to have those people, those touch points in your life. Tip number 3 is to find the benefit of air hugs. Growing up a military brat, I learned that relationships can come and go. But I also learned that if I was stationed at a base, if I wanted to make the most out of my time, I needed to engage. I needed to make friends. I'm an introvert by nature, and so I'm not the first person to shout out, "Hi, I'm your friend." But I did learn to make friends, to know that the time that I had, whether it was 2 months, 2 years, it was well worth it to be able to make relationships with people, to have that support, and to be able to be a supportive friend to others. As a military child, because oftentimes you think that you're going to see these people and never see them again. But because I can connect on social media with people, I'm able to be friends with people that I haven't seen in in decades, which is a really cool thing. And I can give them air hugs. Your friend Laura that I've talked about, and she's down in Florida. And I haven't seen her in, I don't know how many years, but it's been a while. But guess what? We send each other air hugs all of the time. She'll message me. She'll send me things on Pinterest that she knows I like because she's an artist. And we have the opportunity to bond over just tiny little things multiple times during the week, during the month. And those air hugs mean so much to me. And I'm so thankful. And just because we're physically not nearby, that doesn't mean that our relationship is any less deep. And I think that's one thing that I've been taught growing up as a military brat, that your relationships are what you make them. Again, you don't have to be in close proximity to somebody to be in close heart proximity to someone. So find some air hugs today. Give some air hugs if you can. It's a really important thing to help relationships to build. So tip number 4 is to walk the hills and valleys. When you're in different relationships, you're going to have the ups and downs. And sometimes it can be easy to dismiss the downs and say, we're not really close, or we've had a struggle. But those are the times that you're strengthened. Your relationship can be strengthened as you walk the ups and downs. I know for me, there's been a lot of circumstances in my life where I've been in the valley. I've lost a child. I've gone through a very messy divorce. I've raised 2 kids with different health concerns. So throughout all of those circumstances, I've needed help. And if I thought that the people that I was close to in my different relationships, that they were only there for the hills, it wouldn't make it very easy in life, because none of us have just hills in our lives. There's always times where we're in the valley, and we need relationships. We need people. I know sometimes after we've been hurt, we can go away and say, I'm done. I'm done with people. I'm done with this. I don't even want to try again. But we were made to be in relationship with other people. As messy as it might be, we need relationships. I always joke that when I was younger, I read the book Walden by Henry David Thoreau, and he went into a cabin in the woods for 2 years, I believe. And I always imagined, that's my life. I would love that. I would love to be in a cabin in the woods, especially as a mom right now of 7 kids, all by myself. Of course, my husband laughs at me and he says, you couldn't survive. You couldn't survive. You'd have to talk to somebody. And it's true. There would be so many things in my life, things that would happen that I would want to share with other people, that I would want to experience with other people. And so my hope for you is, if you are living that lifestyle, if you are enclosing yourself without friends, without support, reach out. Find somebody. Find organizations that you can be a part of. You need people to walk through the hills and the valleys with. It will make a difference in your mental, your emotional, your spiritual health. So tip number 5 is to strengthen your EQ. What's your EQ? Your EQ, unlike your IQ, is your emotional intelligence. So we all need to take time for self-awareness, for checking in with ourselves. How are you handling your emotions? How do you handle other people and their feelings? Henry Cloud says, we need to be able to trust that someone's makeup and character can deliver on what we have entrusted to them. Sometimes we are truly responding to someone else rather than the person in front of us. And we have to check ourselves. We have to check in with ourselves. And we have to say, is there a healthier response that I can have? I know I'm originally from New Jersey. I don't tell a lot of people that. Oh, because I'm a military brat, and really I'm originally from South Korea. But I'm from New Jersey, and I've lived most of my life at this point down south. I went to college in Savannah, Georgia, and now I live in Suffolk, Virginia. And so being in the South, but having been raised for a long time in New Jersey, my reaction to things is often a northern reaction, and it's not bless your heart. I've had to learn how to change a little bit to adapt, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think for me, I don't beep at cars anymore, really, for the most part. Down south, it's just a gentle tap for the most part. Beep, beep. The last trip that I had taken to New Jersey, I was at the stoplight and the light turned green, and the person behind me was honking very loudly all of a sudden, and it startled me because I had grown unused to that. Sorry for everybody who's in New Jersey. There's a lot of beautiful, wonderful places and wonderful people, but down south things are just a little slower. Things are a little bit more relaxed, and people take their time a little bit more. So for me, it was checking in on how did I relate to people, because it is different. Just like when I went to Korea, people bow there, people react differently, and so I had to adjust accordingly. And some people might say, well, is that being who you truly are? I think it's okay to adapt. I think wherever you are, in whatever situation, you can adapt. But just as we'd like to trust other people, we also have to work on being trustworthy, because relationships are important. They do make a difference in everyone's life. I know right now in 2024, there's been a bigger push, bigger advocacy to help people with their mental health. We don't live well alone. We need community, we need support. And so I encourage you to not only make your relationships matter, but to make them a priority. I know one of the best things that I've done in my life is to be able to be a volunteer. I'm a teacher, which I'd like to think that I'm helping the next generation. They might not all become artists because I'm an art teacher, but I hope that some part of who I am, the good, the encouraging, the helpful, the lessons that I can impart to my students will help them grow, will help them to become the people that God has made them to be. So that's my desire for you, to be able to grow as well, to develop your relationships, to develop yourself, because you have a lot to offer the world. None of us should live alone. And even if you feel alone, I hope that you can watch this video and it can make a difference in your life, because I'm reaching out to my friends out there to let them know that you're important, that you matter. And we're friends on YouTube. And so I hope that you can come by and stop by again. All right, thanks so much for stopping by. I'll see you next time.